Hey, welcome back to the Disney Plus Everyday Challenge, and today we have Goof Troop. Welcome to our fifth year. I have to make sure that it doesn't. Never mind. Goof Troop is today's episode. It is a series from 1992. It says one thing. There's 2 seasons on IMDb. On here it says it's 1 season with 78 episodes. Either way, they're all about 22 minutes long each. They lasted for 2 years, and you crammed a whole lot of chaos that Goofy tends to inspire into one series, into one episode. I only watched the first episode, and yes, I've never watched the series before. I know that's sacrilege to a lot of you, but I was not really watching cartoons around that time, except for in the evening, and I wasn't watching on Disney Channel at that time. I was just too mature. So, in this, I was watching The Simpsons, sure, but there's a neat little connection between this and Goof Troop and The Simpsons. Nancy Cartwright also does a voice. She does the voice of Pete's daughter in this series. So yeah, Bart Simpson and Pistol, is that her name? Pistol Pete, I think, or maybe not. It's Pistol. I didn't get the daughter's name. I think they said it was Pistol Pete because the boy is named PJ. And by the way, Pete's name is Pete, but also it's his last name too, or it's only his last name. We don't know his first name because his wife's name is Peg Pete, and played by April Winchell. By the way, this is an all-star cast, all-star voiceover cast. If you were looking for people, looking for a show that contained pretty much every major animated voiceover artist that works for Disney in the 90s and beyond, before and after, but in the height of their animated series era. I mean, these people are still doing the voices, but man, you have April Winchell as Peg, you have Rob Paulson as PJ, the son, we have Jim Cummings, of course, as Pete, and Bill Farmer, of course, as Goofy. Yeah. Then you throw in Diana Hill playing Max, as Goofy's son Max. Frank Welker as Waffles. I think that's the cat. The cat, I think. And by the way, whenever there's an animal noise to be made, Frank Welker is on it. Period. In any animated show, series, movie, whatever, you're going to find his name somewhere in the credits, usually. Especially with Disney. They're like, oh, we need an animal voice? Get Frank. Corey Burton shows up in this. Michael Go, Jerry Hauser, Charlie Adler, Pat Fraley, Joe Piscopo even shows up. Comedian, Saturday Night Live. Michael Bell. We go all the way down to Kath Soucie, and one of my favorites. Oh yeah, Dan Castellaneta. Homer Simpson makes an appearance at one point as a baseball coach. Yeah, it keeps going. My gosh, it doesn't stop. Everybody is in this. But one of my favorite voices, he only appears in 2 episodes, is Charles Nelson Riley. Shows up. If you ever watched like Hollywood Squares, things like that, or I forget some of the other old game shows from the 70s, Charles Nelson Riley ruled those things. He was fantastic. He plays Dutch Spackle. And when you hear the voice, you might, if you're old enough, you'll know who I'm talking about, even if they don't say Dutch Spackle. So, yes, this is a story of Goofy and Max, who Goofy apparently graduates or something from a school, and he's now able to get out of town, go back to his hometown, in fact. And he takes Max with him, just uproots him suddenly. They live in a small little camper in what looks like the woods, but, well, as you'll see, it's not exactly what you thought. But they move all the way across the country somewhere to visit his old friend Pete. He loves Pete. Pete is the greatest. Pete hates Goofy. Goofy is the reason for every horrible thing that's ever happened in Pete's life. In his mind, at least, and possibly he could be right. Yeah. But Pete is also a little bit high strung. He is married to Peg, and Peg is a real estate agent, and they have a house next door that Pete has been taking advantage of for years, putting together his little model cities, little towns, just going wild with it. And she's like, I gotta sell this house. And he's like, I do not want you to sell this house so I can have it for my own little playland. He's having a hobby, he's got a hobby. Well, she's intent on selling it, and guess who just happens to show up in town? Well, Goofy and Max. And are they going to stay at their house? Well, Pete doesn't want that, but what's the only solution? Oh, yeah, letting them move in next door. Yeah. So, think about Pete. Pete is a little bit like Homer, and Goofy is a little bit like Flanders, except without the religion. Goofy is just good-natured. He's kind, he's friendly, he's positive in every situation. He's super friendly. And no matter how mean Pete might be to him or how much anger he has towards Goofy, it just slides off Goofy. We could all be a little bit more like Goofy, I think. It'd be nice. I can't say that I am most of the time. But of course, from the looks of it, Goof Troop has to do something with possibly maybe like a scout troop, maybe? Either way, the families come together in a way that Max, PJ get to be good friends. Adventures happen, and of course, the clash between the fathers also ensues, probably in every episode. So, 78 episodes. So yeah, it's all insane good fun. The animation is, even though it shows up as widescreen on here, it doesn't do the, it's 92, but they must have cropped it for some reason, because this would have shown up at 4:3 aspect ratio, like very square, not like we have 16:9 here. It would have been 4:3, so more than likely what we're getting is not the full picture of this animated series. They zoom in on it, in a sense, to fill up the entire screen here, which means that the top and the bottom kind of get cut off. It's not ideal, but what does remain is some gorgeous, classic, just hand-drawn backgrounds of towns and cities and houses and things like that, and that kind of offset coloring. I'm not an expert in all these things, but I really love that. Yes, it's very static. It's very static. And you know that if something is going to move, well, it has a different texture to it. It has a different, bolder color to it. It has darker lines around it. You know it's going to move. But a lot of these backgrounds are completely static. I imagine they'll get used throughout the show over and over again in different ways. But then it has the hand-drawn houses and landscapes and everything else. But the coloring over it is just this kind of offset wash. It doesn't even stay in the lines. Maybe a roof is supposed to be blue or brown or something, but that brown bleeds a little bit just off outside the lines. I think it's just one of my favorite background types. If you can have a favorite background type when it comes to animation, the animation nerds will understand, I guess. Hopefully I understand, but I really think it's gorgeous. If I could just have paintings of original animation backgrounds from different cartoons, different movies, different animated series like this, even though I've only watched one episode of this, I would decorate a room with that artwork. It's just so freaking gorgeous. I've looked at animation cells to buy, with like different characters from different cartoons. You see people selling them at Comic-Cons and things like that. I don't see a whole lot of backgrounds because you don't see characters and stuff like that. And I imagine since they're painted and they're to a certain degree that I don't know how you get a hold of those. I got to look into that. If I can. Seriously, they're probably beyond my price range at this point. So I'll plan on being rich next week, but not right now. It's, gotta take my time. Anyway, this is beautiful. It's hilarious. when Pete loses his mind at the fact that his boat was scratched from Goofy bumping into it with his car, it's so insane. It's so incredibly well done. You just have to see it. Even if you have no interest in seeing this, watching this show at all, I am going to add it to my playlist. I am never going to get around to watching it like everything else because I have so much on my to watch list on Disney Plus. But man, watch it, even just for the first episode. It sets up the entire premise that brings everybody together. It doesn't even dig into the Goof Troop storyline that the show is named after. It just brings these characters together, and Pete, with all of his animosity, just bubbling over, and it's just fantastic. Even just the cast, you know that Goofy's gonna, when he's traveling and they're going up a hill, and him and Max are just pushing the car just to get up the hill, and they get to the peak, and of course he stops to make a phone call to call Pete to say, hey, we're coming to visit. Of course, that drives Pete crazy, but at the same time, you know that he's left the car, and that car is going to roll down the hill, and they're going to chase after it, create chaos, and just the madness that ensues as they chase after that car and try to take it under control, somehow landing perfectly at Pete's front door is just cartoon magic. So, yeah. I can't recommend this enough for people who love cartoons, who love animation, and who love Goofy. Why not? I haven't watched this before, and I don't know the details of it, but I have a feeling this is a show you need to watch before you end up watching all the Goofy movies. This is probably laying the foundation, because Max is kind of more grown up, going to college in those movies, so I'm thinking this is kind of the first step if you're going to get into all the Goofy and Max stuff. Just saying. Let's pick tomorrow's episode.
374.
374. 374. 374. We're in the thes. Oh, man. We have seen the sequel to this. One of the sequels, I think. And we've seen the series that was made from this movie. I even made a reference to it the other day. Was it yesterday? No, it's a couple days ago. It was a reference that was made in the George of the Jungle 2. This is a fully Disney movie, 100%, because they got a sports team named after this movie. This is the Mighty Ducks. Yes. The original Mighty Ducks movie with Emilio Estevez. I'm pretty sure that he's in this. Why would he be in the sequels or anything else if he wasn't in this? I don't know. Hockey playing kids, the Mighty Ducks on the next Disney Plus Everyday Challenge. I'll see you back here tomorrow with that.